Mike Landau's one of those players that always seemed to have an effortless tone, and hidden deep in his rig was an Ibanez SD9 Sonic Distortion. He didn't use it as a fuzz or a high gain monster, he used it to add sustain and clarity to his tone. It helped him not get buried deep in a mix. We're not just modifying an old Ibanez pedal for the sake of it, we're unlocking a secret bit of Landau's sound. And here we have it, our Sonic Distortion SD9. Thank you to Dan Mincher for sending this in. I know I've had it for absolutely ages. The issue is, I have so much work on and a full-time Navy job. Let me get my world's smallest violin out to play a tune while I tell you my heart-bled story. Poor done to me. But anyway, too much work, as if that's a bad thing. But he sent me this in ages ago, and I'm only just getting round to it now. So thank you, Dan. I really do appreciate it. The SD9 come out as part of the 9 series in 1981. That was 4 years before I was born. So why did the TS-808 and the TS9 become legendary, but the SD9 not so much? The Tube Screamer was mid-forward, smooth, but safe. The SD9 was wider, more aggressive, with more distortion, and it was definitely the more unruly. And that's exactly what attracted players like Mike Landau and also Scott Henderson. It had character, it had aggression, it had soul, it had feeling, and that's why they chose it. First things first, let's get this apart and we can see what the PCB looks like and see what we're looking at, and I'll talk you through the mods. Of course, I'm going to be using my Weir screwdrivers. If you want to get a set of these screwdrivers, I'll put a link in the description. It is an Amazon affiliates link, so I do get a small kickback, but there's no extra charge to yourself. It was actually a viewer of the channel who suggested these screwdrivers as I was looking for a new pair, and I asked, and they've been fantastic, like really good. Now we can see here that Dan's put Velcro on the bottom, which is a bit awkward to say the least, because I can't see what's going on and what I need to take off. Elsewise, I can replace that Velcro if he really wants me to. Let's just have a look underneath. Is there another screw of some kind? I'm not really au fait with these Ibanez pedals, so there you go. Take that off, and there is another 2 screws at the bottom here. I've never seen that. I've got to say, I haven't taken too many of these apart. I've maybe done 1 or 2 tube screamers, but see, I'm seeing the bottom here, the back of this, and instead of seeing a battery compartment, I'm seeing an awesome place to fit a tag board. I'm afraid that's going to have to be done. For everyone who hates me on the internet for putting tag boards in pedals in a battery compartment, I apologise, but there you go. Right, that's kind of like the base. How cool's that? These are really well built and designed. Now there's where our battery would be, but we're going to have our PCB here. Looks to be an old one, this, to be fair. Now, to take it apart, I'm going to have to probably undo this screw here. It's staring at me right in the face. Well done, Joe. And this is another thing, right, where these boards come in, where these mats come into play. Because right now, I can store all of my components up here in the little spaces. Or you could just use, you know, the handy little trays or whatever, fine. What I really want to get myself is Milo Studios does like a little guitar-shaped wooden tray. Meant for guitar building, but it'd be perfect for what I do. I do keep meaning to get one. So there we go. This is an old looking PCB. I'm not sure of the year because I don't want to peel off Dan's. He did tell me, I know it's an old one, but it clearly looks old. It has got a strip wire or whatever you call them, the bank of wires going to the board, but it's so much better done compared to something like the Joyo stuff. And also look at these resistors. They're all standing up on end, a la the Ibanez method. When I keep saying that, these are what is going on. Nice. Right, let's get it all out. So next step is to undo the sides. Really what I should do is change the knobs and stuff, but because it's a vintage pedal, I think it's a vintage pedal, or at least it's an old one I'm seeing inside of here. I don't really want to change too much aesthetically because, you know, they're awesome. Really, I'm loath to mod this sort of thing, but it's not my pedal after all. That's an interesting one, actually. I'd love to know your thoughts on the ethics of modern stuff, because, I mean, let's face it, some of the best guitars and best gear in history, or most coveted, has been older stuff that's been modded to hell. Like, for example, My single most coveted piece of equipment, if I could have anything, would be Paul Kossoff's original bass that had Grover tuners put on and a new headstock grafted on because the neck had snapped or whatever. So, does it really matter? I don't know. I certainly wouldn't be hacking up something like my 64 Blonde Showman. That's not happening. What the hell has happened here? Okay, so that knob's going to need a bit of attention. I didn't look at that properly. So you can see the threaded inserts come out while I weren't looking. That'll go back in easy with a bit of epoxy. I'll use some steel reinforced epoxy and that'll come out no problem. I have got the right tool for doing this. And really I should go and get it. But I'm not going to. It's like a little fork type thing basically that fits around the sides of the knob. I know some people are going to tell me off because, I mean, look at that. There's another one. Just goes to show you they're old. There. And if we undo all of these as well, do you know what? I love these old Ibanez, just the nuts. These and the Boss pedals. I don't know what it is. They just feel like premium quality compared to the ones that you get today. I think they're made of something different. They like, they age and lose their colour in a funny way. They go a bit greyish. I appreciate that. I'm pretty sure everyone else will be like, come on, Joe, yawn. But that's the smaller details that I really like. I remember the first couple of Boss pedals I modded. I actually took the nuts off and saved them and put them on my production pedals because I love how they look and stuff. Now, there we go. Even the pots, come on, they're non-standard for today's pots. So cool. Right. Let's get to the bottom of our switch and see what's going on here. Right, so we've got two little screws there to come out. You can see how new looking those screws are compared to the other ones that have come out, and that's because they've been underneath here. Tell you what, I don't think I should have took them out. Maybe I should have gone on Google first. This board looks to be screwed in. We can always stick this back down as long as I don't destroy it. Oh, I tell you what, it looks like you don't have to take out the stomp switch element to actually get in and take out this board, which is handy. It's not like a Boss pedal where you have to take that whole latch and hinge out. On here you might not have to. So if you put these back in, or at least one of them just to see, you never know when you take this stuff apart whether there's going to be a spring that goes flying out. You spend 2 weeks looking around a workshop trying to find it. We're not painting the enclosure, so if I was painting the enclosure I would definitely mess about with that, but I'm not, so I won't. There we go. Right, I'm going to have to replace that foam, but that doesn't matter. So that whole mechanism stays together, and because I'm not modifying or spray painting the actual enclosure, it's not going to matter. Perfect. So what have we got here? Pretty much a Boss sort of alike. We've got our spring and a small stomp switch or push switch. I'm not too keen on them, they're a little flimsy, but whatever. The PCB itself looks awesome. I love the colour of it, the way the old boards go. Here's where it gets interesting, the circuit. On the face of it, it looks just like a Tube Screamer, but when you dig a little deeper under the hood, it's completely different. Instead of soft, simple clipping, it has harder, more aggressive clipping. With just a few clever changes, we can give this a little bit more clarity, which will hit us closer to the Landau sound. The first mod we're going to do is to mod the tone of the pedal. This changes the tone response completely, and what we're changing is on our drawing here, if we look at R12, it's a 6.8k resistor. We're changing that to 27k, and C9 is a 27 NF resistor, capacitor, sorry, and we're changing that to 100 NF. The issue I've got is this pedal is not exactly what I'm looking at on my schematic. So if you look at our schematic, our two diodes, our clipping diodes, symmetrical. But if we look at this one, There's actually 3 diodes there. So, not sure what's going on there. And a voltage protection diodes at the top. So it's not that. So this is different anyway. And I actually did some digging. And this JRC 4558D is a special one. And it's special because it was created in 1986. Can you believe it? 1986. That's mad. So this is 1 year younger than me, this pedal. I would imagine that the pedals are 1986 because these were readily available. They wouldn't really be sat on the shelf. So that's interesting. No pressure, eh, Joe? Right, now, what we're looking for on our board, because obviously none of the C9 equates to C9 on this. C9's over here somewhere on this one. They're all muddled up, if you like, and I can't find a drawing for the 1986 version of this. There's no help from AI, so I'm just going to have to rough it out myself. Now, luckily, C9 on our schematic is a 27 NF capacitor. That's handy because there's only one 27 NF capacitor on this whole board, and it's this one right here. So this is a 27 NF, and I can confirm it does, if you follow the circuit through, it does attach to our tone pot. So one of these legs comes through this here and goes up to our tone pot. So I think we've got the right one. But another good way to check is to test if one end of it goes to earth. So if we take our Fluke 101, as we ever do, always, and we put one leg on the bottom of our capacitor. I'm better going in this way for the video. And then another leg on our center pin of our DC barrel. We can see that we have 6.39 K to earth, and that's because if we look at our drawing, our capacitor goes through a 6.8 K resistor and then to earth. So where is this resistor? Well, moving around a bit, we can see that the next resistor along at the top, which is this one right here, if we go to that and then to earth, we also get 6.39 K. And then we come to the other side of that resistor, and indeed, we get a direct short to earth. So this cap is our 27 NF cap, and this resistor is our 6.8 K resistor. That's handy, means that we can get in there. Now if we turn the board over, we can also see on the bottom, because of the way these circuits are laid out, you can also see that they're connected. And you can follow it along and follow it up to the tone pot and what have you. So that's a nice easy mod. That's our first mod, is to change these two. That's going to change the EQ of the pedal. Remember, we're going for Michael Landau, nice and clear. Now here's where I had some fun. Back in the glory days of Fender in the early 60s, all their amplifiers come with these blue molded caps. I'm not even sure who makes them. Possibly Ajax? I'm not sure. Anyway, Skip Simmons from the Truth About Vintage Amps podcast loves these caps. He says they never normally go bad. That made a real impression on me because Skip is one of my heroes. I even had a chance to go on their podcast, which is mental. The question is, I thought, can I squeeze one of these massive blue molded caps into this pedal to add a little bit more mojo? Do you think it's ridiculous, or do you think it's awesome that I managed to squeeze the tag board and a little bit more mojo into this little box? The next mod's all about adding a tiny bit of clarity. Remember, we're going after that Michael Landau tone. So if we look at our schematic, we can see that C4, well, what's labelled up as C4 on our drawing, is a 220 NF capacitor. A tantalum capacitor, it says no less. And 220 NF. This is setting the bass response, so it's affecting bass. If we were to put a 5 UF cap in there, it would become really muddy. But what I'm going to do is, I'm going to get rid of this tantalum cap, and I'm guessing it's this one, but we'll confirm. I'm going to get rid of this tantalum cap, and I'm going to put something in a little bit more boutique, a little bit better sounding. It's going to earth, so it's not a coupling cap. We're not expecting the type of capacitor to make massive amounts of difference. Not like I would for something like a coupling cap, but so what? I'm going to put something cool in there. And I'm going to drop the value of it to 150 NF. And I'm just trying to shave off a tiny bit of bass. Now, whether it's going to make all that much difference or not, I don't know, but we shall see. C4, how do we know what it is? Well, down here is our only tantalum capacitor. It's this red one, this orange one at the front here. I almost thought it was a new cap at first and someone had replaced it in, but it's not. This is our tantalum cap. And what does it attach to? Well, one side of it goes to earth. And if we look at the bottom here, we can see that it goes right the way round here, round our earth. We could say buzz bar, but right the way round down this earth here. So we know that this side of it goes to earth. And if we flip it over, we can see that the component on the other side is this resistor here. So now if this resistor is 470 ohms, we're bang on. Because we can see right next to our tantalum capacitor is a 470 ohm. And actually I'm going to guess that this resistor here is R8 on our drawing, which is a 33k. I mean, what's it labelled up as on here? So on here we've got R6 and R5, but I'll be willing to bet that they're them. So let's test that theory. Get our Fluke 101 round to ohms. I love the Fluke 101. Everyone should have one of these, by the way. And our first resistor is indeed 0.466k, which is 466 ohms. And then that's joined through this little connection here to the next capacitor, the next resistor, which is this one here. That measures 33.42, which is this here. And as we see on our drawing, R8 on our drawing is 33.42. So this cap's going to go. And remember I said I'm going to put something a little bit awesome in its place. Well, I'm going to use this. One of the fabled blue moulded caps from the old Fender 60s amps. The most notorious caps ever. These are my favourite caps in the whole world. In fact, I haven't yet found one that was bad. Even in amplifier repairs and stuff, I went as far as buying. I mean, these caps are like $33 each, something stupid like that, $40 each. And I went as far as replacing every cap in my Showman back to these because they're so awesome, because someone had put orange drops in it. Yeah. So I'm going to replace this tiny 220 NF tantalum cap with this 150 NF blue moulded cap. And now I'm going to mount that on a tag board inside our, in fact I might mount the tag boards on either side of this, but inside our battery compartments. We'll do away with the battery and we can have a blue moulded cap instead. What am I using for the other mod? Well, I'll be using this resistor here and this capacitor here. Although now I'm thinking maybe I could bump up this cap and use something bigger, but this is going to fit in on the board. It's the right spacing. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll just use these. I am going to save all the old components and I'll give them to Dan, and that means that he can have them replaced anytime he wants. If he wants to put this back to 1986 standard, he absolutely can. I'm not sure that LED's original. Did they come with white LEDs in 1986? I don't know. But I love this pedal. It looks so awesome on the inside. I personally wouldn't mod it, but Dan wants it modded, so it's getting modded. Let me know in the comments what you think. Right, now let's get these removed, clean up our soldering iron and wet the tip. Well, hey, I'm going to use my screwdriver underneath the component to lift them out. So first up is going to be our resistor. All I'm going to do is wedge my screwdriver, probably from this side, underneath there, and now I can lever it out. If we follow that round, it is this here. So all I'm doing is heating the pads opposite each other just to bring the components out a bit, which it is coming out. Well, actually I'm heating up the wrong pad there. It's this one. There we go. And now while that resistor is out, let's just give it a test and make sure we got the right one. Remember, we are looking for 6.8k. In fact, you can't see that. I love these old resistors, the class. So 6.78k, there you go, spot on. We're going to be replacing that with this resistor, but let's get the other components out now. This should be a little bit easier to get out than the resistor, just because I don't need my screwdriver for it. Just heat up one leg, bend it until it stops travelling, and then heat up the other leg and do the same. These aren't particularly expensive components, but I'm still going to save them because if there's a chance that Dan wants to put it back to original, then he can. That's why I'm not just clipping some bits out and what have you. So we'll put them in our saved pile. Now these caps are non-polar, so if you're a beginner thinking about replacing caps and stuff, these are non-polar. What does that mean? It means that they don't have a polarity, and that is they can go round any way. So it doesn't matter which leg you put into which hole, they work the same in both directions. That's all you need to know. I'll do the capacitor first because it's sort of tucked in behind some other components. All I have to do is snip the legs a bit short, put them through the holes, and then when I heat up the bottom of these pads and push pressure on the top of the capacitor, it's just going to slide straight through the holes. But we'll wet the tip first. Right, let's straighten that bad boy up. There we are. Now it's time to add in our resistor, and I'm going to do the same method of bending it over on itself, just because it'd then be in fitting with the rest of the resistors on there. I'm pretty sure these resistors come on a strip with this sort of bend in the top anyway, and with the top leg painted with insulation and that little crook in it. I'm pretty sure they come like that. Can't remember if I've seen like strips of them for sale. I'm sure someone will be able to tell me in the comments. Now I'm going to put the body of this resistor to the left hand side, just because there's less components in the way there, and then the floating leg to the right hand side because it's closer to a capacitor and whatever. Right, there's the first bit in. You don't have to push it all the way down, just enough to sit lower than all the other components. There we are. Let's give it a solder in place. I'm going to resolder this joint there that I disturbed before when I was getting the wrong capacitor. Well done, Joe. Yeah, sorry, the wrong resistor. So there's our EQ mod in place. We've got our cap and our resistor. Now it's time to move on to this one. When I first plugged in the SD9, it sounded huge, especially playing up on my own in a bedroom. But I have a feeling it's just going to get lost in the mix in a band setting. Suddenly the SD9 comes alive. It's no longer boxy, it opens up, it's like it can breathe. It's still aggressive, but honestly it makes you wonder why Ibanez didn't ship it like this in the first place. For this tantalum cap, obviously because we're running the component into the battery housing, which is going to hang over the top of this, what we're going to need to do is just take this out and replace it with some wires. Oh, look at that, I've got steel reinforced epoxy all over that. Can't be using that, that's a bit unprofessional. Well done. Right, so first things first, let's remove this in the same manner that we removed our last components. The most unprofessional way possible. Right, we'll save that for later. But next, what we need to do is add in some wire. Now, I don't know how much wire I'm going to need and when I'm going to have to run it. So I like to just clip too much. I mean, that's over the length of the pedal's width. It's definitely not going to need that much. But better to be safe than sorry. And then we strip the ends of it. Give them a twist and a tin. A twist and a tin. Sounds like some sort of song. Now, I've cut these well too long, so I can cut them down. If I sound like I'm coming down with a cold or something, I probably am. I'm right at the end of the summer leave period. So I'm going back to reality next week. In fact, Sunday, duty Sunday, getting soul destroying, if you ask me. But it's I've had a nice bit of time off work, but I'll get back to a bit of military precision next week. Right, there's them in place. Let's give them a solder and make sure that they're in properly. There. Essentially, that's all of the components on the board complete. We don't have to do anything else to this, but we can now move on to getting it all back in the enclosure and getting these wires through so we can mess about and try and wire up our tag board. Pedals back together now. I've left the knobs off because I think I'm going to change them. I'll repair these ones, and they can go back to Dan, but I will change them just to show it's been modified. Let's flip it over, and this is what we've got. I've added 2 tag boards in there, so we've got a tag here and a tag here, and that is going to be for our blue molded cap. I'm going to mount the cap on the bottom tag so then it's got enough clearance on the top. So let's clean the legs and get it in there, eh? I love this. This cap is just ridiculous. It's unnecessary and people are going to hate it. Right, let's see. What I will do is, and what some people may find odd, is I'm going to put the name pointing upwards. The fact of the matter is, on this particular cap, the brand, the moulded bit, and all the information about it that you want to know, i.e. 10% tolerance, the value of the cap, the voltage and all that, is all pointing upwards as well. So that's a good thing. But more importantly, I get to show off that it's a blue moulded cap. And of course that's the most important thing. So let's solder this one side in and we'll get the other side in. There we are. I've steel reinforced epoxy them tags in there, as well as having a little bit of double-sided sticky foam in there, which, as everyone who's watched this channel for a while will know, that I love. There we are. Did I burn the top of that? I thought I'd burn the top of the cap then. It's not, it's just a bit of that, there's like glue on them, like brown glue. I think, if you've ever seen it, I tell you what, if you've ever seen inside an old Magnatone amp, the covered, it looks like someone's picked up a pile of components and spat it inside the enclosure. There's just like bits going everywhere. It's beautiful. But some of the caps are like glued to each other in like a raft, or it's mad. Anyway, there's that in there. We're going to add in our 2 wires. Now these wires can go pretty much any way, as in like either wire can go to either position. What I am going to do is take my cable ties. Of course I'm getting cable ties in there, why not? And I'm going to cable tie the 2 wires for the switch, the stomp switch, in with these wires. So then they're all together in one wire and loom. Just makes it look a bit neater. I mean, oh, I'm missing a wire there. Let's face it, Dan's probably going to take the back off this and have a look at it. And I want it to look good as well as sound good. That is, after all, important to me. I know it's not important to everyone, and a lot of people definitely don't approve of my cable tie method. It's funny what people find offensive on the internet, isn't it? Anyway, Who'd have thought? People on the internet getting offended, eh? Wow. There we are. There we go. That's all that in. Let's cut these cable tie ends off. What do we think? This a good move or a bad move? Let's get some knobs on there. In fact, I tell you what, let's do a choice for knobs today. Let's go and choose some knobs. Which knob should we choose? Of course, the originals are going to go back with the pedal because it's a 1986 and it's awesome. I'll repair them. They can definitely go back with it. Oh no, I've just realised something. I've missed this spring off my little plunger. Ah, look at that. I'm going to have to take it all apart and put that back on. Anyway, before I do that, let's sort out the knobs. First up is going to be these ones. Now, some people think these are really plasticky and don't like them. They remind me of an old mixing desk or something like that. And not only that, the blue ones come on the old Marshall Blues Breaker pedal. And I think that's awesome. People tend not to like them. So let's try them out first. What do we think of the blue ones? And I chose blue because the Ibanez is blue. And I thought maybe that'd be cool. Is it a yay or nay? I mean, to me, they look good. I like them anyway. Or, of course, there's the green ones because the pedal is green. Again, I'm a fan. I mean, they're not good for every situation, but I don't mind them. Then one of our favourites of late. I tell you what, I need to screw a few of these out because they're still tightened down. Brilliant. These cupcake knobs are like such good quality. They just feel premium. You can see where you are set from a mile away. They do look good, but I'm just not sure about them on that pedal. They obscure the rings around the pots, so it's probably going to be a no for them. Then there's these Neve-style Bakelite knobs. I absolutely love these. I think they go really well with this green. It looks like it's meant to be there. So I'm torn between maybe these and the blue ones. Let me know in the comments, what would you choose? And now it's time for the sound sample. But before we get to the sound sample, I've got a small request. Could everyone just hit the share button on this video, press copy. You don't have to copy it anywhere, but that shows YouTube that you value my content. And it'll help them share this to more people with the same interests. Thank you so much for supporting Hello Sailor Effects. It means a lot to me. And now onto the sound sample. First we're going to hear the original pedal again, unmodified, just like you've heard before. And then you'll hear it again, the modified version, all using the TC Electronics wiretap player. That way we've kept the same guitar signal, the same notes, the same everything going through the pedal, just as a fair comparison. Because, let's face it, guitar's about feeling, and I feel that this pedal is better now that I've modified it. And that very well may make me play better, which means that the pedal will sound better. It's kind of an unfair test. So we'll do everything with the TC wiretap, so then it's like a level playing field. Then you'll hear me playing some terrible licks through the SD9 with some of my own pedals. I hope you like this tone, and it's been fun building this pedal. Thanks to Dan for sending it in. Here's the original Sonic Distortion with one of my Seawolf pedals. Let's hear how it sounds, and remember, this is all going through the wiretap, so I've got my hands free, and also, it's the same signal going through it as we're going to put through the modified version. Don't worry, I will be going to the modified version and playing some guitar licks and stuff. But right now I wanted to keep it like a dating test. That's our clean tone. And that's the Sonic Distortion with the distortion at 9. If we roll that back to about 2 and then boost the level, I think that sounds awesome, don't you? And now if we bring the delay into it, increase the tone. Now let's bring some gain into it. Okay, so what I noticed so far is that when you bring the gain into it, you really need to bump up the tone as well to compensate for how dark it gets. But really, I like it as a cleanish boost, you know, with the distortion down and a level up. So let's just hear that one more time, but this time let's bring in some sort of chords. There you go. That's the distortion down, now the level up. That's spot on. Sounds good to me. Here we have it, the modified version. Let's see how it sounds with everything at 2 o'clock. Sounds pretty good to me, but now let's drop the gain and see what happens. I mean, this is the Mike Landau thing, isn't it? Drop the gain down. And then with the level up, it seems a little bit brighter, like I need to roll the tone back a bit. I'm not sure if you're hearing that, I quite prefer it. Now, that may be psychosomatic because I know that I've modified this pedal, so it could be that. Now let's roll up the distortion. But before that, let's get some delay on there. Roll up the distortion and roll back the level. Last time I had to boost up the tone to full to be able to get it to do the thing. That sounds meaty. And then if we max the tone, I don't know. I'd have to listen to them side by side to know that, you know, exactly right. But I do feel like it sounds brighter or clearer. Turn that down a bit and then boost the level. Let's go from the big chords. And back to the original tone. Definitely sounds clearer. I mean, what's the distortion up sound like? I think I prefer this one, but I'd have to listen to them side by side. Now the question is, am I going to prefer it when I'm playing the guitar? Let's see how it feels. Let's hear how it sounds with fake red first, going on its own at first, and we'll do a few licks, and then we'll add in the range master, the Gibbons range master, on the NKT275 setting, just to add a bit of meat so we can hear how it sounds. Getting pushed with a range master, because everything sounds better with a range master. Here's my clean tone. It cleans up well. Now let's hit the range master. Messed that up. What about on its own if we increase the gain? That sounds really fat even with this telly pickup, which is quite spiky. Oh man, Michael Landau is known for using the Strat, so I'm going to use the Strat. This is my 1977 Strat. It's a hardtail and I still own it. It's been for sale for ages and it looks like I'm just going to own it. Fantastic. I'm not going to be able to play like Michael Landau. We all know that. It's just impossible. I'm a guitar pedal builder, not a guitarist. But I'll give it a shot at playing some crappy Oasis tunes. Here we go. So, clean tone. Now let's add in some of the tones from the Sketchy, one of my favourite pedals. Great. Now let's add in the SD9. Now to dial the gain back, all I have to do is drop the guitar's volume and it cleans up. Can't play a Strat. And then dial it back up again. And there it is, that's where my my comparison of me and Noel Gallagher ends. Thank you, Nebway. What happens if we go to the neck pickup? I'm getting a ton more clarity than with that off, and it all turned up. You get the impression. Now let's turn the gain up. Turn that off, get the gain up. Volume down a bit. I think the treble set where it is should be alright. I don't know, let's see. Lost where I am now, but you get the idea. You can ride the guitar's volume and get some real clean tones, like even in the high gain setting. I love this pedal, I love this mod, I'm really glad that Dan gave me it to do. Now that we've heard the sound sample, what do we think? Do we like the before or the after? And I've got another question for you. This will also help me know if anyone watches these videos all the way to the end. Do you think it's sacrilege to modify a 1986 Ibanez pedal? Because I was really conflicted on this one. I'm a massive fan of vintage gear, and I'm a massive fan of preserving it. But this isn't my pedal. It belongs to Dan, and if he wants it modified, I'd rather me be the one to do it. So then I can know that the parts are there, ready to go back in, should he require them. Thank you for watching, and if you love this video, you're going to love this video where I show a whole ton of mods to standard pedals.